outside of that, there is always a series of questions that need to be discussed before starting, a project. One of the things is making sure that the expectations and goals are clearly defined from the beginning. What sort of what type of project is it? And so in our particular case, let's just say it's a publication project. Sort of thinking about where what the project is about, who is the audience, and sort of clearly defining the goals during that process is where I would always start. What's the time frame? What's the scope of the project? What are the individual elements of the project? How big is the publication for this example? Are there going to be charts, infographics, photos, tables, sort of defining the actual elements of a particular, set of requirements. But then sort of going a little bit further than that is asking some questions or defining sort of, is this something that's going to be in a set or a series of publications? Has there been something that's been created before that this is going to pair up with? And then how closely is it going to match either the organization's brand or, is this something that's going to be set with a different sort of design thought in mind? So those are just some of the questions to sort of get started talking about a project. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the first thing a designer will do is make sure they understand the task and the sort of where the finish line is, but also get some context, it sounds like, trying to understand whether this, let's say, report is part of a series and whether it's intended to fold seamlessly into an existing brand or whether it's intended to differentiate a little bit, right? So some of that context stuff. So that makes sense for the first step. So what happens next then?
Mm-hmm. So we discussed some basics along those lines. And then, there's the series of, okay, well, here are the expectations. These are what we're looking for. You look at some of the predefined markers. What's the timeline of this project? And what's the budget? Making sure that everybody is kind of in the same realm of expectations budget-wise is important. That is all based, at least from our perspective, on the complexity of a project, and making sure that it can be done in the time frame that the client needs this project done in. Some things that can affect that are whether, let's say, for example, this publication is going to be printed or whether it's going to be disseminated digitally. And if it is disseminated digitally, is it going to be an interactive PDF where people are going to be able to interact with the document, click on links to go to sources on the web, things like that? Those are all things that need to be sort of stated relatively early on in the project, so the design firm can set, the goals and the timelines related to that. So with that in mind, there will be a budget that's either created for it or one that's already been stipulated, and it's something that the design firm can work within. And then making sure that the timeline, balances that out. Now when printing publications, there's a whole new world of complexities that we deal with today. Primarily anything from paper shortages to printer timelines. I've seen them extended a lot over the last couple of years. They're getting longer and longer out. Printers need more time to source paper. They need more time to actually produce the document. The shipping costs have gone up, and all those need to be sort of factored into a project.